Hello, and welcome to episode 101 of Things I Learned from Barry Harris. And today I thought we would discuss the first 4 bars of rhythm changes, or the chord changes that are based on the George Gershwin song, I Got Rhythm. So there's been a million bebop heads written on it, and Charlie Parker wrote a bunch, Bud Powell wrote a bunch, Monk wrote a bunch. But the idea is the first 4 bars is pretty interesting. Well, the whole song is interesting, but the first 4 bars are pretty interesting. When Barry does his scale outline, which I love, basically the scale outline is B flat major up, F7 up, then B flat major up, then F7 up. Now, the chords that are going on behind it are usually B flat major, G minor, C minor, F7, and then sometimes D minor, F7, C minor, D minor, G7, C minor, F7. So the first part would be like B flat, G, C, F, D, G, C, F, and then it goes to B flat 7, or B flat major to B flat 7. But we're not even going to go that far. Let's just do the first part. Now, there's a lot of different things it could be. If we looked at the tritone thing that we were talking about, we have B flat major, and then we have F7. Or we could do B flat major, B7, and back to B flat major, then maybe F7. That's a nice one to look at. Or maybe we'll do B flat major up, F7, B flat up, B7. Those are nice sounds to hear. And when I'm saying the scale outline, that just gives you the overall feeling of, okay, these are some of the notes that you can choose, and this is the length of time that they go for. So if I say, okay, you have to know B flat major up to F7 up, even though they're the same notes, different parts of the scale, what you have to know on B flat major is very similar to what you have to know on F7. So you have to know your scale up and down, you have to know your scale in thirds, scale in triads, scale in chords, half step below those things, his Barry's chromatic scale. And then what you have to do is take your favorite things that you like to do and then kind of put them in and run them into F7. Or sometimes you don't even have to do that. Sometimes you could just play B flat major over the whole first part. I'll show you what I mean. One of the things that you hear Barry and Bud Powell and Bird do is they'll surround each one of the B flat major arpeggio notes, which would be, the arpeggio is the triad with the bottom note repeated on top. So it would be B flat, D, F, B flat. And what sometimes they do is they will surround each one of those notes with a scale tone above the actual note, half step below, then back to the scale tone. So now you have B flat would be surrounded with C, B flat, A, B flat. The D is going to get surrounded with E flat, D, C sharp, D, and then the F is going to get surrounded with G, F is the note, and then E, and back to F. So we got. And sometimes you'll play that on the first part. Watch. See right away that whole first part. I did watch Bob over the whole first part. Sometimes, so you could think just B flat major for the whole first 2 bars, let's say. Sometimes people will think just F7 for the first 2 bars. And by that I mean, let's say we take Barry's half step rules. And let's say I started on the 3rd of the F. And I said one of the rules for descending F7 scale would be 3 half steps from the 3rd. So we'll say, and then maybe when we get to the flat 7th of the F, we'll pivot and come down the scale to the 3rd. So let's say 1, 2, 3, That was over this whole part. Be ba dee da dee da dee da dee boo doo doo be over the whole first part of that was all F7, which is a really pretty way to approach it. Another way you could approach it is if we said, let's say if we just did some B flat major, and then instead of F7, well, let's do B flat major to F7. So let's run up. That's nice. So we'll start on the second beat. We'll run up from the tonic of the B flat to the sixth, and then we'll descend, and then we'll put 1/2 step, because now we're thinking that that's F7. So we'll put 1/2 step between tonic and flat 7. So let's see, 1, 2, 3. That works nice. So all I did after I came down to the flat 7, I did that same pivot that I do all the time that I really have to stop doing, but it sounds so good. Maybe I'll try something different. That's nice. I just came up F7. But so that's B flat major to F7. Then you also should be able to do B flat major to F7's tritone, which is B7. So let's try that. Let's do something with that. So 1, 2. That was pretty. I just came down the B major arpeggio. It's pretty. That's a pretty phrase. That was just B flat major to B7. Now, what if I just did totally B7 over this first bar? That's pretty too, just B7. That's really pretty, really, really pretty, just B7. Okay, so that's the first little part. But then the second part does this a lot of times, which is D minor to G7 to C minor to F7 would be for the third and fourth bar. And this is where you can start to do your walking downwards, like you hear guitar players or piano players play, which I think we've discussed in other videos. But this D minor 7, which a lot of people play, Barry likes to think of this as two different things, which is a D minor triad and also an F major. So he thinks of this as D minor. That's the D minor arpeggio and its inversions. And he also thinks of it as F major. So you see, if you take those two things, and that means that if that's D minor arpeggio and F major arpeggio, then this is D flat or C sharp minor arpeggio and E major arpeggio. And this is C minor arpeggio and E flat major arpeggio. So you see that? So then you can do things like go up D minor, go up C sharp minor, which is pretty. So if we say, and then that time I went up the D minor and then I went down the E flat. So you practice them like this, so going up in succession. So here's D, C sharp, C, and then you can invert them. Invert again, invert again. Oh, sorry. Same thing, and you're going to do the same thing for the F major. F major from the third, from the fifth. That's just if you do them each. Now, what if you did one of them up and one of them down? Or one of them down, one of them up? How about one down, two up? How about one up, two down? So you see how you could start to do these things to build lines. So let's try the first part. And then, or you could have done F major, which you'll hear all the time. So it's really interesting. So now you have D minor and F major arpeggios, and then going down in half steps, which are really pretty. You come up with a million phrases for that. And what I like about those are, you'll hear now, if you know about this half step thing, where you hear that descension in half steps, you're going to hear Bird's take on that. Like, he has his own things that he's worked out on that. Sonny Rollins has his own things. Bud Powell has his own things. Barry has his own things. So our idea is we have to come up with our own things without just completely imitating Bird or Bud Powell or Barry or Sonny Rollins. You know, so we have to come up with our own kind of clever things. Maybe, so that time I came up the D minor, I went down a half step, and I came up from the point that I was at the C sharp. Or wait, I could have done that. So let's see. Let's try that one. 1, 2. It came out okay. A little hard to play, but pretty though, pretty stuff. Or how about if we do then, if we go down. That's a nice one. Let's see. You hear that a lot, but let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see. Let's see. That's a nice one. I'll try that. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a nice one. That time I came down the 2 notes of F major. I came down at half step, and now I'm going to come down 4 notes of the E major arpeggio. And then I'm going to come down another half step, and maybe I'll just come down the C minor. So we say, but maybe a nice triplet. Now, that's a perfect example. I've never played that. But see, I have to get that in my fingers so that when it comes time to play I Got Rhythm, I can just throw that in. That's the idea. And it's completely influenced by Barry and completely influenced by Bud Powell and Sonny Rollins and all the great ones. But it's not theirs. It's not their phrase. Nice one. So that's yet another example of how you can think about the first couple of bars. So if you just take those simple 2 concepts, and we didn't even do the tritone of the G7, because that means you could run B flat major, because the second part says D minor, which we'll think of as B flat major, to G7. And that's where you get that B flat major down to the 3rd of G, which is then going to give you the B natural. So most of the time Bird will do something like, he'll play B flat major, F7, but now he throws in that, the second 2 bars is where you really hear that 3rd of the G7. Not usually the first 2 bars, the second 2 bars you hear that. Really nice. That's where you can really do it. So here's a B flat major triad. And then maybe do a, just raise the B flat to B. Let's try that one. Really pretty phrase. And of course, if you're doing G7, then that also means G7's tritone, which is D flat. So then you could say, that time I came down a chord from the 2nd of D flat. So let's try that. Pretty phrase. So it just shows you, we could spend days and weeks and months and years working on the first 4 bars of I Got Rhythm and never get bored of it, because all you have to do is say, okay, I want to maybe imply this chord over it, or I want to imply this chord, and then work on resolutions for those. But I mean, I'm having so much fun with this, just thinking about it and thinking about how, even though I've known about I Got Rhythm since like 1993, I feel like I'm just discovering it, because I can see all these little things within 1 or 2 fingerings, on, especially on the guitar. Anyway, I hope that was helpful in maybe having you look over the first 4 bars of I Got Rhythm and enjoy. As my student says, Pierre says, enjoy playing in Barry's playground. Until next time, thanks.